Hi, welcome back. I'm Chava. Welcome to Ask Chava. I am a clarity coach and an expert in Chinese astrology, and I'm here today with Juvee Perez, who is going to be helping me explain to you what I actually do by just demonstrating it. Juvee is a really cool person. She is a website ninja, and she was born in the Philippines and lives in the UK. And I met her through, where did I meet her? An international business women's meeting, which was a lot of fun. And Juvee very kindly volunteered to come help me out today. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the highlights of Juvee's personality chart. I'm going to explain the major energies and what they mean. And Juvee is just going to stop me anytime she has a question. We'll see how far we make it through the map. And this way, Juvee can learn about herself, and everyone watching can learn what I actually do. Juvee, do you have any questions or anything you want to say before we start?
No, I'm just ready to get started. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So just if anyone watching wants to know how relevant this is for them, Juvee was born in the first half of 1993, which was the year of the Rooster. And so everything, we're not going to make it down to a lower resolution than like the year or maybe the 6 month period. So everything I say about Juvee, if you were born in the first half of 1993 or 60 years before that, 1933, can be relevant to you too. Assuming you were born in the Northern Hemisphere, because things are different in the Southern Hemisphere, which is why I had to ask where you were born. So, okay. So the way that I look at people's personalities is based on a system called the Heavenly Stems and the Earthly Branches, which is a traditional Chinese system. And so we use the terminology of the 5 elements or the 5 energies. So we're going to be talking about earth, water, fire, metal, and wood. And we're going to be looking at the order of the energies as using the metaphor of a tree. So we're going to talk about your root energy and your trunk energy and your branch energy. And I'm going to explain what each of these are as they come up. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so when we're looking at a person's energies and how they are expressed in the world, the first thing to know is that this isn't dictating your entire future. I'm not going to say you were born at such and such a time, and therefore I can predict who you're going to marry and what color your children's eyes will be. The idea is just that there is a cycle of energies in the world, just like we have weather cycles that we're learning how to predict, just like we have tides and we know how to predict them. So there's a rising and falling of the different levels of energies in the world, and the time that a person is born into, when someone is born, when someone is exposed to the outside world for the first time, that's their impression of how the world works. And so they're going to go through life learning from all sorts of things, learning from their parents, being influenced by their genetics, by their background, by any therapy they go to, but they're also going to have this kind of impression of the world as having a certain mix of energies, and they're always at a certain level going to be responding to the world the way as it was when they got their first impression of it. So this is why we actually look at the time of birth. And because we're talking about the major shifts in energy that change over the course of years, that's why I don't need to know the specific birth, the specific day you were born, in order to do a very general chart of what the energy balance was. And so we're going to be looking at the root, the trunk, and the branch energy, where the root represents kind of like your gift. It's the energy that nourishes you. You got an extra dose of it, and you just, by going around and being yourself, you're bringing it into the world. Your trunk, that kind of represents like what you're doing with the energy that you absorb through your roots. So your trunk is kind of like what you do in the world. And then your branch energy, your branches, that's when usually the parts of the tree that we interact with and that we use are the fruit and the flowers. They're all up in the branch area. So that's more about your relationships and how you interact with people around you. It's like what they see when they look at you, what you give to them on a kind of day-to-day level.
That's actually a really good, analogy of things. So that you make it really easy to understand. So that's really good. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Great. I've worked very hard at this explanation. Okay, so in your case, your root energy, the energy that's like that's your gift that you were given this energy and you're bringing it into the world. So your root energy is fire, where fire represents a lot of different things, but the main features in like our personality are communication and the ability to connect to other people, to share our ideas and our feelings, to form communities, to be part of a group of people and to be part of something greater than ourselves. So anytime, if you're like part of singing in a choir and you're all singing together, or if you're like dancing like a folk dance or something where everyone's doing the same moves, or if you're watching a sports game and you feel like everyone jumps to their feet at the same time, that's that fire that connects between people. And so that's something that you have that you can share with people around you. And it's something that allows you to do everything else that you do in life. Like everything that you do in life, you can say, all right, well, I have this, you can tell you like, you don't have to say it to yourself, but like you just have this dose of fire and, it's going to be there for you.
Okay.
And whatever things you try and do, you're going to do them from a fiery place.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that's very true. Yeah, with the way I socialize for my relationship, it's always that fire, as you said. So, okay, very interesting.
Okay, cool. And then the next thing we're looking at is the trunk, or the stem is what it's called in this is the way I was taught, something in the translation. Okay, so the trunk energy in your case is water. So you have the water and the fire, where the water represents kind of the opposite of the fire. The water is about connecting to what's going on inside of you. It's connecting to your instincts, it's connecting to your intuition. And it's also, if the fire is about sharing what's going on with you with others, the water is about listening and being present and holding space and absorbing everything that's going on. And so the water is a connection to what's going on inside of you, also to what's going on inside of other people. It's the ability to just be present, to be aware, and to connect at the level, not the level of sharing, but the level of just taking in anything that's going on around you.
Is it a good combination, the like water and fire? Like
there's no good or bad. Every combination that comes up is needed in the world. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't. There are combinations that aren't possible. The way the systems is set up. So you couldn't have someone who say has fire, fire, and fire in all three areas.
Oh, okay.
Because that's just, I guess that would be too much. That would not be a healthy person. So any combination, any like legal combination, anything that can come up, evidently is something, it's just a reaction to a natural balance of energy that happens. And so since this is an energy, these are energies that exist, and this combination of energies is something that's going to recur throughout life, it's important that we have people who know how to deal with these energies, or who can embody these energies and who can share these energies. Each combination of energies can be beautiful and amazing. And I can each combination of energies that I can talk about, I can come up with an example of someone who has like an amazingly beautiful life, and that they share these energies with people and do amazing things through that. And I can also come up with the opposite. Of people who aren't well balanced, and they're not using their gifts to benefit people. So for example, this water and fire that you have, this like communication and presence. I know a young woman with a similar balance of energies where she works with autistic kids who have communication difficulties, and she like learns to talk for these kids, and she's able to connect with them, and she's able to understand what they're trying to communicate, and then pass that idea on and share it with others. And you, like, I don't know what exactly a website ninja does, like from your perspective, but from my perspective, what I need from someone to do my websites is to understand my like incoherent rambling of like I just want this to be more inviting. I want it to be inviting and maybe blue. And I think there's too much words here and these sound nicer. So you need to like take what I've got.
Yes, it's funny because in my line of work, I mostly listen to the clients. So what they want, because sometimes, either they know what they want or they don't know what they want. And it's up to me to put myself in their shoes and understand them as a brand or as a business, and then reflect, like through my creative skills, I express that through visuals and tech. So that's what, I do most listening. I've learned to listen to what they want. And if there's something that's not quite right or impossible or something like that, then I communicate with them, like what we can or cannot do. So yes.
Yeah, but you listen to what people want, and then you what they tell you what they want, and then you translate that into something that can be communicated to their customers and their clients and the people who are reading their websites. So that's using both of those energies, using both of those main energies in a really balanced way.
Okay, yeah.
So that's really great. One of the things that can be an issue when you have a lot of water and fire, it's not so much in your case because you actually have a really well-balanced chart. You've got like a little bit of everything going on. There are people who have like just water and fire. And they have like very minimal levels of all the other energies. And then you can end up with great people who can be totally like psychologically healthy, but they can be very extreme in terms of like, they want to be either surrounded by a ton of other people at a party and then they're done with people and they have to like go be by themselves for 9 hours. And so it can be a little hard for them maybe to express their needs or for other people to understand what's going on with them. And sometimes I've talked to some people who say like they don't feel very balanced because they just go from one extreme to the other. I think that would be less of an issue with you because you really do have, you got like some earth, you've got some metal, you've got other more solid energies to kind of help balance out, and you've got like,
that's good to know.
Yeah. So yeah, and then again, so the branch energy, which like I said, is what people see when they interact with you. So there we have the water again. So like you said, mostly in your interactions with your clients, you're presenting the water, like that's what they're seeing. You're being the presence and you're listening. But then later on, you take it and you use your fire gift in order to do the work that they need done.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. So yeah. So far it sounds like you're using your gifts in a really healthy way, which is
okay. I have a question though, like for the branches, and you said relationships. Can you elaborate more on that, the branch?
Absolutely. So that's where I was about to go next, because the branches describe relationships, and like fire and water and metal, they kind of have relationships. Like the fire can make the water steam and it can melt the metal, but they're not really. That's not a very helpful image for like how people interact. Which is why the branches also are described with animals. And those are like the Chinese ears of the tiger and the rooster and the monkey, because we can really easily picture animals interacting and having relationships. This is like a more helpful metaphor for the relationship side of things. And so the branch, like I said, your branch is water. I simplified that. It's a little more complicated. It's the yin water, and it's also got the deep energy. And when we take all of the different aspects of the branch and put them together, the animal metaphor that's the equivalent of that is the rooster. And since I grew up on a farm, I can describe roosters to you very well.
Okay, describe it to me.
Okay, so the thing about the rooster, and this is specifically, it's rooster, it's not chicken, it's not bird, it's specifically a rooster. So the thing about roosters, and we actually did have chickens on my parents' farm for the eggs, and they would wander around the yard and in the forest, and they come back and lay eggs, and generally not, enough for the whole family, but my parents really liked having some fresh eggs. So a rooster is if you look at all of the chickens, there's little boring brown bird, little boring brown bird, little boring brown bird, rooster, right? He's flamboyant, he's colorful, he's bigger, and then he's got long, feathers, and he's got different colors, and he looks really impressive. And so a lot of people look at a rooster and they think, oh, a rooster's like, he's very superficial, it's very external, he's all about like, the aesthetics. And the thing is that, yes, the rooster is all about the aesthetics, but it comes from the very deepest water instincts of needing to protect and take care of his family. Because the reason the rooster looks that fancy is so that if anything tries to attack the flock of chickens, they'll try and attack the rooster first, and the hens and chicks will be able to escape.
Oh wow, that poor rooster.
Yeah. Roosters are all about responsibility. So the rooster, he scouts ahead and he looks for places to eat, and then he goes and he collects the flock and he like drags them out to where he wants them to eat. And while they're eating, he's like flapping up somewhere he can sit on top of a tree or a fence or a stump and I've just flung my pen to the floor. 2 out of 2 this week in videos and pen dropping. So the rooster, he's always got his eyes out for danger. He's always supervising. He's always like making sure that everyone stays together. And he's putting himself out in a vulnerable place so that if anything happens, it'll happen to him and he'll be there and he'll be able to fight off the enemy or distract them. So people I know who have like rooster energy, they tend to dress really well, and they tend to like, they do their makeup, they do their hair, they care about aesthetics, but they care about it because they know that like how they present themselves in the world affects how other people interact with them. And they think it's very important to present, the image that they want so that people will see them the way they want to be seen, so that they can achieve their deeper goals, whether that's, making money to take care of their family, whether that's, representing the organization they work for in the best possible light, whether that's representing their culture. And like the outside is in Chinese, they say the outside is the inside. Like the external things always come from a very deep place. And so roosters, they're very responsible. They care about order. They always want everyone to stay like in the area that they've already scouted out. They tend to be very good with, very attentive to their families. Excuse me. They're caregivers. They take care of people. They tend to be good at socializing, but they don't enjoy it as much as being with their family and with their close friends. Like they can be extroverted, but they really prefer to be introverted. They prefer, like, for their fun time or for their recharging, they want to be with a small number of people that they're close to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So those are like the rooster basics.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a lot of friends. So can be very tiring sometimes, but I do have like a very few close friends that, it's like a recharge, as you said. Mm-hmm. So when I'm with my close friends or family, then I feel recharged. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy socializing, but every now and then, not all the time.
Yeah, a good balance. And you also have like the fire and the water, where sometimes like, you can connect to that fireplace of going out and sharing and connecting, and, but you also have the water side of being quieter and, more inwardly focused.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the other major things that I look at when I look at people's charts are what I call your supporting energy, which is like, if you're the tree, then your supporting energy is like, it's like the little fence that protects you and keeps you upright. My parents also had fruit trees. And so when you plant a tree, you plant it inside this little tube that stops the wind blowing it over and stops animals eating it for the first couple years until it, so in your case, your supporting energy is the metal. That's a good support. Much easier to picture than a fence made out of water or or fire. And what the metal represents is, the metal is all about clarity and structure, and what's right and wrong, what's good or bad, what's good for me and bad for me. It's about boundaries, it's about schedules. And so what that means is that in order for you to be like at your strongest and protected from all of the energy that's going around in the world all the time, if you have, a structure of metal that you can exist inside of, that's going to let you, it's like going to let you make the most of your energy, because you're not always you won't always be having to protect yourself. And so that can be things like, having a schedule that you stick to. It can be things like being part of a community that has, rules or organizations or ways of behaving. Like, if you know that you always have Sunday lunch with your parents, and then you always have, you have a girls' night out Wednesday nights, and then you work during regular hours, just having some sort of built-in structure will let you be more yourself. Because without that, it's like the water flows, and the water can get really wrapped up in like what feels right in the moment. And the fire is really excited, and the fire can like you can get all lit up by this cool new thing. And both of those can kind of like take you away from what's best for you, because you're following the flow or you're following the excitement. And so if you're existing, if you have a structure in your life of like, you go to bed at a certain time, so you're getting enough sleep, and you see you're social at a certain regular time, so you're not going to get too sucked into like meditating with yourself. So that's going to be really helpful.
Okay. Any like examples of other people with similar metal supporting, like any examples how they live their life?
So there are people who are like, they have metal is their gift, they don't need the support of more metal, because they're just naturally, they wake up at 6 o'clock every day, and they leave for work at 8, and they have lunch at 12, and they come back, and they're like naturally
that's not me.
No one needs right. They don't need someone else to tell them that. They don't need to like put it in their calendar what time they go to bed, because they're just going to go to bed at the same time they go to bed, because that's what they do. So that's someone who's naturally metal. And you're not naturally metal. You need, like, you have some metal. You don't have no metal, but outside metal is helpful for you. So outside metal can be things like, obviously you have a family member who's very metal, and they can be like, now it's time to go to bed. That can be helpful. It can be a schedule that you put together yourself, or with a coach, or with a business mentor. It can be things like, I had for a very long time a list of values that I made. It was an exercise I did with a coach. And so I had my list of the things that were important to me in life. And when I got really excited, I have a lot of fire and water too. And when I'd get like really excited about a new opportunity, it would be like, okay, stop, look at the list. Is this actually like...
Yeah, it can be very difficult for us to stay on track sometimes, because we're kind of like, oh, there's a new thing. Hi.
Yep. Yeah, just like that. Or like, oh no, I don't wanna. I just want to sit by myself and have
that too.
Yeah, it can go either way. So a metal can also be like an accountability buddy, or a what do you call it? A co-working group.
Yeah.
And I actually worked with someone where she is very metal. She's naturally metal, and she has practically no wood, where wood is like being able to start things. Her sister has a ton of wood and no metal. And so after like my client worked with me, she went to her sister, this is COVID and they're all working from home. And she said, why don't we work together? They set up an office together. And so when because she's metal and she's all about doing things right and correctly, is proofreading her article for the 14th time, she can say to her sister, I need you to just tell me to hit publish. And her sister can come in with the wood and be like, publish already.
That's a good balance. Yeah.
And then when her sister is like, okay, I've written it, I'm going to hit publish. Then, my client is like, wait, we're going to proofread first. And so, if you have the option of working with someone who can complement and complete.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another way of doing it. It can also be things like scheduling in advance or making decisions in advance.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like I always schedule things ahead of time.
Right. Like when
with my calendar.
Yeah, exactly. When you're not being swept away after the fire, then it's easier to
definitely. And I'm getting better at time management. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's never too late to start. But I've done it and I'm getting better. I'm not 100% there yet, but I love my Google Calendar and it keeps me sane. So I know what to do next. There's a bit of structure with my social, with my professional life. So I can see if I'm playing too hard or working too hard, then I can balance it a little bit. So
yeah, that's very important. Okay, that's great. All right, and then the other main energy that I look at when you're looking at this chart is what I call I don't have a good name for it. I'm calling it controlling energy, which is like translating from what I learned. But I think of it more as like your enthusiasm. It's like which energy is most likely to get out of hand and like stomp all over everyone else. Hang on, I think Zoom's frozen. There you are, you're back. Okay. So in your case, the energy which is most likely to be like, let's do this and not listen to any other suggestions is the water, which isn't surprising because you have a lot of going on. And so that means when we were talking about how water and fire can be these two poles and one of them's more outgoing and one's more inward focused. So you're kind of predisposed to have the water overwhelm the fire. Like you've got more water, the water's more into the water's because the water is there's no good way to explain this without going into Chinese. Your water has a tendency to overwhelm your fire.
Okay.
And so that's just something to be aware of. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Every single person has an energy, which is more likely to kind of like get carried away.
Okay. Can you give me like a scenario, for example, where water is the one overwhelming all the other elements?
So basically, like anytime where you're like, no, I don't want to leave the house.
That's it.
You're like,
I was like that this morning. I was like, I don't want to get out of the bed. And I didn't get up until like noon. So
that can be, it can be like just that you're tired if you've been sick. Obviously there are times when it's healthy to just stay in, but if you're having that, like, I know that once I go to the party, I'm really going to love it. And I'm looking forward to seeing my friends, but I just really want to be by myself.
Yes, sometimes. Yeah.
That's the water. And it can also be something that happens a lot is you can end up like feeling like you have to listen and give space for everyone else and like take on their feelings to a greater extent than maybe you're taking up space in the conversation or in the relationship and sharing what's going on with you. That's also like another expression of the water.
Yeah, they're just like absorb instead of going like going out, them going. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So that's another expression of the water. So yeah, does that make sense? Do you need more examples?
Yeah, no. I think that's I can relate definitely to that. Something that I have to watch out for.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
And again, it's not a bad thing. We each
but it happens, especially like when I'm feeling something like emotions. It just gets so overwhelming that it's difficult to express it because it's just like
you have such a deep
so
connection.
overwhelming.
You have such a deep connection to your emotions, and you feel them so strongly that you can get like sucked in instead of being able to bring the emotion and out. And, like, express it, share it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's absolutely. So that's very water. All right. So you have any other questions?
I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for like whatever you were telling me. Like very clear, easy to understand. I just like needed more examples earlier, which you've done already, just so I can relate to things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so one thing you want to watch out for is that you have very little wood. You don't have no wood, but you have very little wood in your chart. Where wood is all about beginning things and movement and change. So those are all areas where if you find yourself having trouble, it might be helpful to get like outside help. Like you're probably never going to naturally become a person who starts things really easily. You know, you can get better, you can work at it, you can teach yourself, you can coach yourself, but you know, you're probably never going to be a complete switch into someone who's just like, you know, I want to go to a different place to eat breakfast every day. So that's one more thing to be aware of.
Okay.
Like in terms of like really things that are really standing out in your chart.
Yes, it's really funny because like whenever I do work, because I do a lot of creative work, and sometimes it's just difficult for me to get started. Like once I've started, it's easy. I can get into the mood, but it's just getting there.
Yep. Absolutely. So, okay. So a couple of things that can be helpful there. One is again, scheduling it in advance.
Yeah.
Like saying, you know, at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to start. And if you can plan it out, you're like, I don't know, again, I don't know exactly how you work, but like at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to open up video editor, and I'm just thinking about me, you know, and I'm going to do, you know, work on the bit that has to be cut out of this specific video. It's like, if you do the planning in advance, then when 9 o'clock comes, it's not really like starting because you've already started.
Yeah, because you've already thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But just the thinking about it is a lot less scary than starting the work. And so if you can split it up like that, you can kind of like put your brain into getting over the hump of starting.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good tip, actually. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then another thing that can be helpful when you don't have a lot of wood energy and you want to get that burst of enthusiasm for doing something new is literally getting your heart rate up, because wood is about movement, and that's like physical movement in the body. If you do some jumping jacks or jump rope or run up and down the stairs and you get your heart rate up, get your face red, and then plop yourself right down in front of your computer, sometimes you can just like slide right into starting things because you're already in that energy,
interesting.
In that, like,
no wonder I don't like exercise. So maybe I should do that more. Okay.
You gotta find the
so
right.
It's all the energy, adrenaline. Like once your blood is pumping, then you can't actually like, oh, what's next? What can I do next?
Exactly.
I never do that, so that's why I never.
You could try it as an experiment once.
Yeah, I can try that. That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah. And then you know, just about exercise. No one loves all exercise. Everyone has something that's a good fit for them. And like for you, I would definitely look into something that's a group, that's like a fun group activity of something.
Yeah, with music. I like it
with music. Absolutely. 100% with music, like I don't know, like dancing or you know, something like that would be
fun.
Would be fun for you, because like something with a rigid structure wouldn't be fun. I don't think that would be very fun for you. Or something where like you're getting up at 5 a.m. to go running all by yourself. And maybe something with like yoga and breathing, but because that's like really with the water. But on the other hand, you already have so much water that's not necessarily like what you need to be strengthening. So maybe I would do like something like folk dancing.
I used to like do Zumba. Like I like dancing people, like, and then it's you know, instead of me just doing it on my own, I just don't see the fun in it. That's why I don't understand why people at the gym do it, because it's not fun.
Everyone's different. No, everyone's different. Everyone has fun with different things. I don't like I don't find going to the gym all on my own fun, but I find going with a friend fun. We're there together. But so anything that's in a group, anything with music and dance and Zumba and things like that, where there is a structure, but it's not a rigid structure. So I think something like that, or swimming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I need to learn because I don't know how to swim. I need to
Me
learn.
either. Me either.
There you go.
I was traumatized by a swim instructor as a child, but I think I
Oh,
liked
that's
it. Yeah. I can stay above the water, but not,
as long as I
not
can
in a
stand,
graceful
I can
way.
stand. Yeah,
Okay.
if I can stand, I'm okay. If I can't stand, then I panic as well.
Right. So I actually, so how I learned just to like doggy paddle and float, no, because I really would panic in the water, is I found a pool where the water, there's nowhere in the whole pool where I couldn't stand. Like the deep end of the pool, the water only came up to my neck. And
Okay.
so I could like splash back and forth. And anytime
That's
I
good.
started to panic, I just put my feet on the floor.
Yeah. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's,
Because
and
I have
that's
the
how
same. I have the same. So
yeah. So that's how I was able to work through my panic around the water.
okay.
So that might be worth looking into if swimming is something you really want to do.
I would love it. I would love to. I would love to, like, sometime this year. Definitely, it's on my bucket list, like to actually do and learn how to swim. So that's one thing that I would love to do this year. So
Very cool. Yeah, I think that'd be really good for you. Like it would be,
and it keeps me fit as well. You know?
Absolutely, it is.
Good
So
exercise.
yeah, it's great for your muscles. It's great for your back. It's great for your core. Yeah, I recommend it to a lot of people. I just don't do it. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me. Thank you for being a great guest and asking great questions. And I'd be happy to, have you back again if you think of anything more that you want to ask or you want to learn here. And I really appreciate your coming on. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. I've learned a lot. Like I've learned a lot about, because I had no idea about. All I know is I was like, Year of the Rooster. That's it. Like I don't know much about the elements, so it's pretty nice that she explained it to me. And hopefully, this video will be helpful for people who don't really know, but would be interested to know about this. What's the term? This Chinese astrology. So yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. It was great talking to you. I had a lot of fun.
Me
And
too.
I hope to see you again soon.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.